Great job, Jimmy. You buddy. You were just killing. All right, this is the tricky one. Anyone? This is only missing one left. Why are you missing one carrot? Your dad's dead. We're not just joking. I'm just joking. We don't got this. All right, guys. Let's go. Correct. Oh, man. Oh, we got it. We'll change things about it. Next one. Hey, let's go. That's why they call you special. This isn't how you play hangman. We're gonna play hangman from the nearest tree. Thank you. Here we go. What's that?
I wish it was going to be funny. Actually, that looks pretty clean though.
Lysol sent me.
Look at y'all. Early in the morning. Meat to me.
Meat to me.
Y'all just some disrespectful little puppies. Oh, love it. No, don't get it. Hey, you gotta sit like yourself. I done told you one too many times. Hey, I'm just gonna stay right there for real, huh? That's fine shit. Y'all pay bills. Move over this stuff from my house. Snaggle too fast, baby. Let me see them TVs. Look at you. Championship back.
Meet the me.
So this time I hear it. Autumn is a direct visit, followed by her sister. Daisy is also a direct visit. But Autumn is worse, she's just stepping down. I just don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? She don't give a fuck. Miss Daisy, she's the sweet, innocent beggar. She's just gonna lay here looking all sad and hungry, knowing they got food bowls downstairs. You had to feel like she's gonna walk back and forth to see who's gonna get home water first. She still hasn't. Okay. Then there's Miss Daisy. She heard somebody call her name. Nobody said her name. Then you had Big Daddy. Big Daddy gonna act like he don't give a fuck. So these are the people like.
Well, would you look at what the damn devil is?
So who the devil is, man?
I'm talking about you, black
I'm talking about you, black ass.
What that make you?
I'm worried about me, goddamn it, I'm a child.
Well, I don't think God will ever pleased with how you treat the child.
Well, I won't take no part in your damn. But you're not a damn child of God. You're a child of faith.
Okay, and if I'm the child of Satan, then your ass got to be right there.
Move away from me, you goddamn devil. Move
You know Jesus is black, right?
No, the hell are you?
Really is
That
it?
ain't what he told you.
Listen here, goddamn. I'm reading my damn Bible every single damn day. It don't say anything in there about him being damn black.
Okay, they don't say nothing about him being Caucasian either. Please, that is me.
No, black bitch, I hope you ride in the pool. Oh, damn.
And I hope your ass goes first.
Take it out. We'll transition to the real there. You guys happy? Oh, heads. What is it, Todd? No! You do not answer that. Right? Old heads. He calls that all the time. And you keep answering. He calls that all the time. Because you keep answering. That's because you are old heads. No, we keep answering it, so he keeps saying it. And I will continue to do so. Don't I know? Yep. Because you guys are old heads. You know, he's just going to keep bugging us until we answer him. Or until he has no head. What is it, Todd? I have something for you. What is it? It's a mail here meant to bring pain to men everywhere. Oh, not again. Not again. You know, old head. Not from Sabrina Room. Open up the mail again. Fine, open it. Is that about Marcus? Imagine that.
go ahead and hit the like button, your boy. We wait to get started. What I believe is a Saturday night for you all, obviously Sunday morning for me. Go ahead and hit it. And hit the like button, share the video, let everybody know what we're about to get into. A little bit to talk about since the last time I went live. But also, of course, y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all saw what a lot of y'all might have came here for. We're going to talk this game. 10 years in the making for this game. We're going to talk about that. Hit the like button. And I'll be right back. All right. Let's cut this music off. And I'm not going to waste any more time. More people will hop in. If they don't, that's okay too. I know how this thing gets. I'm not as consistent on the live streams as I used to be. That's just because that's the way the time works out. But anyway, man, what is going on, Florida State family, Seminole Nation, and the 863 tribe? It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. 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 the goddamn truth. And I'm glad to see those who are in here. Hit a roll call eventually. We'll wait till some more people join. But I got to say, I'm excited. I think a lot of people are excited. If you don't have a PS5, first of all, if you don't have a PS5, you're wrong. If you don't have a PS5, you have a problem and you need to get that fixed. Now, if you have an Xbox, okay, it's at least something, but you might want to look into upgrading from that as well. Get yourself a PS5. Frankly, I don't believe this, and we're going to get into the game and what I think's coming with the game and features and all that stuff. I don't think it's going to be cross-play, though. I haven't heard anything about cross-platform. So if you have an Xbox, I'm sorry. If you're PlayStation, you're smart. Xbox, sorry. PlayStation, smart. So when we talk about this game, but also, man, before we get into the game, as far as Florida State goes, there's some things that have happened since the last time we talked, so we got to address that. Or I want to address it. And again, keep sharing the video, man. Hit the like button, share the video, let everybody know we are live. But again, this is a game, man. This is a 10-year game in the making, and it's going to be interesting to see what the end product's going to be with all of this stuff. And so I'm just, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, and I think most of us are excited for this game. Even with some of the, I'm going to have some complaints, obviously. I'm going to have some complaints about this game. Even though I ain't played it yet, there's still some things I think as I don't want to say gamers. I consider myself one. Everybody might not consider themselves a gamer. But as people that will consume this product, I think there's some things to worry about. But then again, half of y'all still play Madden. And Madden's been a dumpster fire of a franchise for, I don't know, 15 years now. And half of y'all still give them your money. So y'all probably won't care about what I have to say on that anyway. Let's do a quick roll call, man. And then again, not going to waste any more time. We're just going to get and dive right into it. If you're following me on, if you're watching on Twitter, just do me a favor. Jump over to YouTube, hit the like button. Then you go back to Twitter and keep watching. And of course, if you're on YouTube, you have no excuse to not hit the like button and share the video. So let's do that. And let's get it, man. Till Dog's in the building. It says, come in and smash the like button. Or come in and smash the like button as you come in. Yeah. Do that. Absolutely. Briley says, don't smash the like button. Polk prefers when you tickle it. We'll just keep the chat moving. What is going on, CJ? Kane's roll. What up, Hope? Go Noles. Who everyone got for UF versus Miami week 1? I hope they both lose. In a perfect world, yes, both would take an L. I legitimately think Florida. Now, granted, the swamp. It's not like people can't go into the swamp and lose. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's not a night game. If it was a night game, I might. If it was a night game, I might just straight up pick the Gators. I think the Gators have a pretty good chance of winning that game, though. I think those teams are very even. They're even, and maybe the home field advantage helps the Gators out. And also, O's 850 with the super chat. $9.99. Shout out to 850, man. I appreciate you for sure. And let's see what we'll do. Here we go. We'll do, you know what? We'll do a classic because you deserve it. You did $9.99. You know what that says to me.
More money, more money.
John Shields is in the building. Says go Canes. Almighty Finn, Island Boy, Grill Master. What you talking about? C-Box all day, man. If that's what works for you. What's going on, Champs 99? Tell him, Irv, time to go get your PS5 if you ain't got one. If you ain't got one, go get your PS5. I don't know what you're waiting for. It said there are 3 modes that are cross-compatible with Dynasty, and it doesn't make sense. Again, we're going to get into obviously the conversation. But if the Dynasty is not cross-platform, what's the point of all the other modes being cross-platform? It's almost doesn't make sense. I'm assuming, and again, I'm going to dive into this, but I know the main mode that's going to be cross-platform because that's their money-making mode. Kane's A in the building. KCS 85 in the building. Super Harold. That game 50-50. I agree. I think that game 50-50. Montre, what's up? He says that game 50-50. I got Florida, though. I think it is a 50-50 game. Vontae and Henry says, I think the Gator will win. So before we get into the game talk, obviously FSU's been still adding pieces to the team. And since the last time we talked, we've had 2 guys transfer into the program. One's a very familiar guy who we all are familiar with. It's another defensive back, so we'll start there. With Omarion Cooper has made his way back to Tallahassee in a very interesting development. I don't quite know why. I'm not against it per se. At this point, I don't know why we continue to add defensive backs. But maybe there's just some, like, hey, you left, no hard feelings, come on back, we'll take you back. Maybe it's something like that. As far as actually on the field, I don't know. Loaded freshman class, really good starters coming back. And then you brought in your boy that played at Miami last year as a safety. Amarion Cooper, I'm assuming, is being brought back as a safety as well. I'm not sure. You guys might know more about where do they see him. Do they put him back at corner? Does he play back at safety? I don't know. Maybe they brought him Amarion back because is it Dante Brown or Devontae Brown, the other safety? I forget the safety that came from. I forget his name. The one that came from Miami. But maybe he's just not. Maybe he's just not impressing or whatever. Maybe there's some injuries that they're keeping undisclosed. So you bring back Duke, a guy that obviously knows the system, a guy that's been around. I don't think he hasn't played for Pat, but maybe there's some things there. Didn't work out at Colorado for whatever reason, and he's coming back. And it just adds more depth to the DB room. So maybe you can sustain more injuries if that happens. Maybe they don't want to rush a Charles Lester or a Jamari Howard or a Kai Bates and kind of ease them into the process there. So, yeah, Amarion Cooper's back. How do y'all feel? I'm going to get to the comments here in a second. But how do y'all feel about that? Is that a plus? Is that doesn't mean anything? Or are you kind of like, I don't like it, doesn't make sense? Why bring him back when we could have been addressing other positions? So, yeah, go ahead and get in that comment section. Let me know what you think about Amarion Cooper as I go back to where we left off here. Irv says, I've been Xbox for decades, but stopped gaming since 2014. But now NCAA is back, and I'm going to get that PS5 this time. I would get the PS5. If you want to play with as many people as possible, I would get the PS5. And to be transparent, I actually have the Xbox, not the most expensive one. I have the other one, the Series S, I think it's called, the little square white one. And I only bought it for, because I don't use my PlayStation for like Netflix and stuff. I use PlayStation to play games. So I bought the Xbox for Hulu and all the, streaming apps, to be fair. So I actually do have one. I just don't game on it. My man said you about to get a PS5 and the new TV. TV got to match, right? I'm with you on that. Welcome, Mounter says, welcome back, Duke. I don't understand. We took him back. Duke knows the system. John, stay on topic, John. Golly. It doesn't hurt to have guys who know what you want to do on the team. In my opinion, we added Duke back because we could add him without making waves, and it gives us an option other than Noles, who we can't get to go. Can't seem to get Noles up out of this. Duke to back up Earl. So you think Duke is going to be your nickel back? Well, why won't we just move Noles back to that spot? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. And then we did lose Greedy Vance. So, I mean, that I get it, Maybe Peter, you might be on something, Peter. Henry says the Candy Canes will be in the straight depression mode. Oh, okay. Duke Cooper will play nickelback as well. You can say what you want about addressing other needs, but the guys have to be there in order to address it. Grillmaster says, I like it. They were excited about his play at safety before he left, and he was a solid corner too. Duke coming back tells me Colorado is not serious about developing players. I mean, Duke coming back should not tell you that. There's a lot of other things that should tell you that. Duke being the least of things that tell you that Colorado is not serious about developing players. But that's neither here nor there. What do you do? What do y'all prefer, hard copy or streaming the video game? Both. I personally have the digital PS5, and 10 years ago, when 2014 came out, I actually bought that one digitally because I didn't want to go wait, you know, when everybody was buying hard copy games and you had to go, and I didn't feel like it. I actually bought it digitally. I still can play 2014, even though they took it off the store, they took it off the shelves. Obviously, I can still play that game digitally on PS3 till this day. I don't think, if you're a nostalgic kind of person that likes to like have their collection displayed, hard copy was obviously the way to go. I think, and to be clear, if you're actually not streaming the game, you're buying it digitally. So you're not streaming it. There are apps that where you can stream the games, but those are way different in terms of the visuals and how the game interacts than actually buying the game digitally and downloading it. It's just a matter of preference, in my opinion. I think digital gaming is more convenient. I mean, again, with my digital PS5, every PS5 I have gotten is obviously digital. So I don't knock either. Whatever helps you out, or whatever, you know, works for you. I got a PS5 saying that if you don't got one, get one. I got you. Ardavius is in the building. Cooper's playing safety. We did move Noles back to nickel. Okay. What's up, Terrence? Okay, y'all talking about, of course, Miami and Florida State fans gonna get into it, so I'll let y'all do that. I still have my PS3 too. Let's move on to the next guy. This one was interesting to me. This one was a surprise to me. I did not see that. I mean, I know we targeted this linebacker. We targeted him in the winter portal and seemed to have missed. But FSU goes full circle on Cam Riley, the 6'5" middle linebacker, 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is. Interesting build for a backer who originally decided to transfer to NC State. I don't know if he never signed the paperwork, never got on campus, or hit the transfer portal again. I'm not too sure how that worked out. But he comes back, and now FSU's linebacking core might go from a weakness to, I don't know if strength is the right word, but Cam Riley, and now you add Cam Riley with a Murphy and Blake, and we see Cryer coming along. You already got Lundy back in the fold. Omar Graham. I don't know, man. I think your linebacking. I don't want to go and sit here and call and say the linebacking core is a strength, or it's still a question mark, because a lot of those guys, in terms of Blake, hasn't done anything at the collegiate level really. He's only a redshirt freshman. Same thing with Cryer. Murphy, I know he's at Bama, but hasn't really made an impact on the college level. So there's still question marks about him. And so you got really Riley and Lundy as your two kind of guys back with production. And then Omar Graham, you also add to that mix as a guy who hasn't done much. So there's still a bunch of questions, I think, as far as linebacker go, and who's what and who's who, and what your starting group even looks like. But let me turn that off. That doesn't interrupt me anymore. But remember a couple years ago, I talked about that receiver room and just how I loved the take of a Deuce Spann and a Johnny Wilson, even though these guys also had not proved anything at that point. Deuce Spann still hasn't proved anything. But Winston Wright and Micah Pittman. And one of the reasons why I love the group was for the simple fact you added a bunch of different bodies, a bunch of different skill sets. I think it's very similar here with this linebacking core. I don't know who emerges, but you got a thumper in Lundy. You got a Cam Riley, again, who has a unique body type for the position. Murphy's probably the most athletic of the bunch. Can he get it together? A blue chipper in Blake, who can he put it? The same thing with him, right? Can he put it together? Cryer might be an overachiever as far as his recruiting rankings, but just looks like a natural linebacker. And another guy in Omar Graham, again, who might have a chance to ease his way into making a contribution. You got options there, man, and you got what sounds to me like, man, you got a really solid rotation at linebacker. And yeah, what do you guys think about Cam Riley? Not mad at the take at all. We wanted to address some of the linebackers, and I think we obviously did that. So what do you guys think about linebacker as we move back up in the comment section? He moved good to be 6'5", 2 sub. You got bodies, more depth for sure. Should be a solid group. What y'all like better, the Bama linebacker or the Auburn linebacker? I mean, it's based off just production, right? You got to go with Cam Riley, right? Murphy, who I think could have a bright future, but hasn't done anything. If he can cover, I think if he can cover at linebacker, I think is what Montre's trying to say there. Kane Zane thinks they have the best linebacking crew in the ACC. What do y'all think about that? I'm assuming that's because he thinks Maui Goa is. Wasn't it you, Zay, that said Maui Goa was like a first-round pick or something? Did you say some crazy mess like that? But Zay thinks Miami has the best linebacking crew in the ACC. Interesting take. Who start next to Lundy, or does Lundy get bumped? I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the great question. Is it Lundy and Riley? I guess if you base simply off of production, that would be my guess. Lundy and Riley played next to each other. And then the first two coming off the bench probably be Omar Graham and Murphy, if I had to guess. As they're going to give Omar Graham that nod. Whether or not Omar Graham's the best one, I don't know, but I just think they would give him that spot. As of right now, I think it'd be Lundy and Riley, but we got a whole off season still, man. A whole fall camp to go. Very interesting. Davis thinks Lundy and Blake will start, but we'll get plenty of rotate. I definitely they will rotate. That's something we know. This staff across multiple positions, they like to rotate bodies. I don't think Blake Nicholson gets the nod over some of these other guys, though. But R. Davis, you could be right. Kane Zay smoking quiet. I'm telling you, man, I think he said that. If I'm not mistaken, I think Zay said Maui Goa was like the best linebacker, or was like a first-round pick at linebacker. That's what I remember hearing. But maybe I was just tripping. Would love if Blake started. Lundy is terrible. Is he? What are you basing that off of? I want to see Blake establish himself. Oh, y'all just picked up a linebacker from Louisville. Blake will start. I think Spring told you staff likes. I don't disagree. Will he start over Riley? I don't know. Whoops, hold on. Peter, there you go. I know we have uncertainty on offense, but these Miami fans think they're going to run the world this year. Come on, guys. This is typical off-season behavior. Y'all shouldn't even be surprised. I'm going to let y'all go for it in the comment section with Zay. Zay likes to be very bullish, as most Miami fans like to be very bullish in the offseason. By the way, man, again, hit the like button. If you're on Twitter, just do me a quick favor. Jump over to YouTube, hit my like button. You can go back to Twitter and continue to watch. But hit the like button and share the video. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into this game. By the way, y'all like this? Y'all like how I added all of this in? Hold on. Y'all like that? Oh, Peter, should get off the screen. Peter, get out of here. Okay. I like how I added Pat in there and AZ in there. That was a nice little touch. Let's get into this game. What are y'all thinking, man? Where do we start? Where do we start with this game? So I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the trailer. I ain't gonna lie, man. The trailer was like, I've been waiting on gameplay. I've been sick of all these announcements for weeks. They've been talking about X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, this game was supposed to release in 2 months. And we haven't seen a lick of gameplay. I was almost feeling like, oh, they were going to push the game back a year or something, you know. But we finally got a reveal trailer. And I was happy with what I saw. But now it's time to talk about like the nuts and bolts of this thing. And this brings me to the first problem I'm going to have with this game. And it was already been addressed. And this is the cross-platform. Now, it doesn't make sense to me that Dynasty mode. Let me backtrack. This is my worry. And this has been my problem with Madden forever. It's not that I don't like football games. I wish Madden was a good football game. The problem I have with Madden is that they don't put any resources into actually making the game better. They give you the base modes the same year after year. If you're not playing Madden with a group of friends for like the franchise mode, then it's boring, dry. I can't play more than a season of Madden franchise mode because there's nothing to it. You can't be an OC. You can't be a defensive coordinator. It's just free agency is bare bones and dry. It's just bare bones, boring and dry. Madden franchise. But that's because they put all of the money into Ultimate Team. Because that's what's going to pay that's because y'all are going to go out there and you're going to buy your Ultimate Team packs and you're going to so that's why there's no cross-platform play for Dynasty mode, because all of that's going to be in Ultimate Team. Go figure. If you look at the different, I could probably bring it up here. Let me see if I can find it. If you look up the different versions of the game that you can buy, what is it? All centered around Ultimate Team bonuses. None of it's centered around, I don't know, different game modes. It's all, I don't know, maybe something you get with buying a bigger version. No, you know what it's all centered around? It's all centered around you get X amount of Ultimate Team points. And I have a problem with that. But my major hope is that as long as this game has the modes that make the NCAA games better than Madden, I'll be happy. And that's an in-depth Dynasty mode. Recruiting, I'm very interested to see how they implement the transfer portal into this game. Is NIL going to be a factor in this game? Your road to glories, shareable rosters, you got to add that, and your team builder, which has all been confirmed. I don't know if the shareable rosters have been confirmed, but I know everything else that I've just mentioned has been confirmed. But as long as they have all of that stuff, I should be a happy camper. It just concerns me that they may have made some of those modes bare bones in an attempt to put all the time, effort, and money into Ultimate Team, which they obviously are trying to get their money's worth on Ultimate Team. If you just look at the pricing, I can't find. I'm on the EA website right now, and I can't find the different modes. By the way, I've already pre-ordered my copy. Not telling you to pre-order. Pre-ordering is I wouldn't even recommend pre-ordering, but I'm gonna spend my money on pre-order. But I didn't buy I bought the base game. I don't really care too much about the early 3-day access, and I damn sure don't care about any of the Ultimate Team perks because I don't play that junk. I can't find it. But y'all know what I'm getting at. There's just Ultimate Team, and then I think the highest tier was you get, I think it includes Madden 25. I think that the highest tier included Madden 25. So there's that. We're going to talk about the player overalls in a second here. But that's what's coming with the game. And again, I don't care about the gameplay. I'll be honest with you. I think some people are making too big a deal about the actual, this is just a Madden, in terms of gameplay, this is just a Madden reskin. Guess what? The old NCAA games didn't have the greatest gameplay. The gameplay is not what made the game, because let's face it, in the old games, you could cheese. There was plenty of the read option might be the easiest cheese play in the old game. You read option a guy to death, not have to pass the ball one time. If you know what you're doing, there's definitely a bunch of cheese play. That just comes with video games and the way EA designs their games. I don't too much quite care about that. I care about the dynasty modes. I care about all of that. I care about having everything in the game that makes it in depth, that I can spend 2 hours just recruiting players. That's what I care about, believe it or not. Let me get back up here because I want to get to some of y'all's comments. My assumption is, I guess closer to release, they'll have, how they do the videos and they'll go in depth of each mode. That's what I think. That's what I would like to see that too. Here's what's new with Dynasty and things of that nature. Because remember, man, in an old NCAA game, you can do 25 years of Dynasty mode. I think it was more than 25 years. I think it was 25 years of Dynasty, something like that. I'm worried that the player models look clunky like Madden. Again, so was the old one. I'm not saying your worries aren't valid, Ardavius. I'm just saying it's EA. So there's going to be some, and EA is using the same engine from Madden. So you're going to get that. You're just going to get that. And Montre says, can't wait to see player overalls. Who do y'all think is going to be? First of all, who are the candidates for the highest player on the Seminoles? Who do y'all think are the candidates for highest overalls? I think it's Pat, Farmer, Darius, and probably AZ are probably the 4 players that I would say have the potential to be the overall highest player on the Seminoles. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? It looks like Madden, in my opinion. Yeah, it's definitely gonna look like Madden. The hope is that maybe it plays slightly different, but it's the same engine, so it's gonna look like Madden. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I would wait until the game comes out. I ain't letting EA take my money anymore. I hear you. Again, I'm not telling you to pre-order it. I'm just telling you I did. And that's against my better judgment, but that's what I did. That's my point, Ardavius. People will get over the Madden gameplay if Dynasty Mode and Road to Glory aren't just bare bones. If they actually put time and effort into that, people will definitely get over the Madden-like gameplay. Antoine says, I hate them putting Ultimate Team in the new college football game. You knew it was coming, though. And Road to Glory is the mode I'm looking forward to the most. Got to have Road to Glory and Dynasty. We ain't even seen any real gameplay yet. Not getting my hopes up. All right, John, then I'll holler at you. So the old Dynasty mode had transfer portal. I'm just interested because the portal is obviously evolved. My question is going to be, how do they implement it? Is there going to be a separate transfer portal recruiting window and a high school recruiting window? Is it going to be a year-long thing like high school is? It can't be how it was 10 years ago, because then that doesn't replicate what we see in today's game. So I'm very interested to see how they implement the portal. I know it's going to be in the game because it was in the old games. Players transferred in the old games. But it wasn't until after high school season was done and only a select few players transferred. And if they did transfer, they had to sit out a year, just like in real life. And all of those things. So I'm very interested to see if guys are just hit. And in the old game, guys transferred with a school already in place. Like, you would get a notification that this kid just wants to transfer to your school. I'm interested to see, is the portal just going to be a wide open pool of players that then you can then recruit like the normal recruiting? I'm interested to see just how they implement it. Madden 24 wasn't bad. We're not gonna make this a Madden discussion because I'm not gonna go down that road with you. But what I would ask you, Zay, and this is probably gonna open up the conversation, but I'm gonna ask you this, Zay. What did Madden 24 do different than Madden 23 that did different than Madden 22 that did different than Madden? Just answer that question. What made Madden 24 different than the previous 5 installs of Madden? Antoine says Pat. I think it's between Pat Farmer, AZ, and who's the fourth one I said? Dang, Darius. I think those are the 4 candidates for highest overall. You think Philly would be the highest skill player? That makes some sense. Unless you don't count AZ as a skill player, Terrence. But I think you mean on offense. Philly would be the highest skill player on offense, most likely. I would agree with that. Darius is probably the highest. William, I got a PS5, my man. Does Madden do that? Again, I haven't played Madden in years. Or at least I haven't bought the game. I've played it, but I haven't brought the game. Does Madden, because I don't believe last time I was playing Madden, or last time I was buying the game, I should say, and actually trying to do like franchise mode, did Madden update their ratings as the season goes on? I know 2K does that with the basketball games, but I don't think Madden does that. My guess is the NCAA game won't do that either. That's my guess. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, bro. The dynasty and the recruiting process and how they implement it, how they make recruiting engaging is what matters most to me. I'm with you. David says dynasty. You can choose to recruit only portal or high school or use both. But how do you know that? Are you assuming this, Ardavius, or where's that been put out at? Just show me the article. I would love to read it. Ardavius is just giving us the rundown. You will be able to hire coordinators and the skill trees are back. speaking of that, again, I don't know where R. Davies is getting all this insight from, but maybe he works for EA and he's not telling us. Coaching carousel is another big thing with the NCAA games, right? Like coaches can get hired from different coaching, just like in real life. A coach gets hired to Bama, and now that opens up all these other. So how do they implement the coaching carousel in this game? That's going to be fun. I used to love that part of the off season of the coaching carousel. Champs doesn't think either linebacker from Bama or Auburn will be starters. So what we bring them in for? This is the best Madden since 20. You didn't answer my question, though. I said, what features from 24 to 23 to 22? You said you didn't buy 22 or 21. So we'll just do 23 because you played 23. What different features was brought into the game? You say the game played more smoothly. What did they add to Madden 24 that wasn't in 23 to make it worth a purchase? Okay, so Madden does upgrade overall during the season. So the college game might do it too. Again, I don't play Madden, so I don't know if they, like I said, I know 2K does it. I wasn't aware if Madden did it or not. I'm also interested to see how they implement the entire roster. In terms of, we know the big names are going to be there. Obviously, Edwards, Hunter. We saw Rodell Williams in one of the clips that featured Florida State in the trailer. So you're going to see the big names in the game for sure. I wonder how they round out the roster at the bottom. Are some of the just for an example, not saying anything bad about this particular player, but he kind of first guy that comes to mind, in my opinion. Like Aaron Hester, is he going to be in the game, or is that going to be just a generic guy? So some of that stuff, I'm interested to see how they complete, because obviously the big names, but your roster is probably not going to be made up of all the big names. Like, is it the entire roster, or will there be some generic guys that'll close it out? I'm not sure how they do it. I think it'd be interesting to see if, because they have to pay him to put him in the game. They got to pay him to put him in the game. Okay. Is this game a ground up new gameplay engine, or is the same? It's the Frostbite engine, from my understanding. So it's going to be the same engine that you've been playing Madden on. EA needs competition. Well, the NFL license is strictly towards EA, so you'll never get an EA competition as far as pro football goes. I don't know about the NCAA license. Like, could 2K make a college football game if they wanted to? I don't know. Zay says, I do franchise mode, so the scouting of the players was better, but I know what you're getting at. It's the same every year. If you do franchise mode, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. As a person who myself loves the franchise mode, that's why I can no longer support Madden, because your franchise mode is dog water. A player from a 4-8 being on the cover is nasty work. That's another subject, though. Hey, man, he's a good football player. Allegedly, they all got paid, so I assume so. All scholarship players were offered bare minimum. So you might get full rosters, which is going to be interesting. Also, it's going to be interesting to see how what am I trying to say here? Dang, I just lost my train of thought that quickly. I was thinking about something, saw something, and lost my train of thought. But it might come back to me. Forget it. It might come back to me. So who do y'all think? Y'all think Pat? Y'all think Farmer? Like, who are, in your opinions, who are the guys on the team that will probably be the highest rated players? And then what do you think the highest rating will be for Florida State? Will there be a 99 in the game? Quinn Edwards said in a recent interview that he doesn't know if there's a 99 rated player in the game, but he thinks if it is a guy, then it should be Travis Hunter. So would Travis Hunter be 99? What position would you guys think Travis Hunter will be at? Obviously, I think he's an athlete, but you got to make him a position on the game, though he can obviously play both sides like he does in real life. I think Travis Hunter might be the most highest rated player in the game if I had to think of a player. Interesting that they had Quinn Ewers. The players all get paid the same. Travis Hunter versus Stanford says no, not. Hey, that's not a. I don't make the rules, Briley. That's. When they made NCAA, I didn't play Madden. That 10-year hiatus forced me to play Madden to satisfy my football. I hear you. When they were playing both, I think was the best time in football gaming because you could then take your players from NCAA and transfer them on to Madden, and you can draft them. And those were good times, man. Those were good times. Those were good times. What do you guys think DJ's going to be? I think DJ. So let me throw this out there. I think those 4 players I named, I think they'll all be in the 90s. I don't think FSU will have a player rated over 95 though. I'm not sure they'll have a player that's rated 95. I think Pat will be anywhere from 93 to 92, 93, 94, somewhere in there. Same thing with Farmer. AZ, I think, will be a solid 90. And then Darius will be a 90. I'm gonna say Darius will be the highest rated player. I think Darius would be a 94 or a 95. Outside of that, man, I think you'll have a bunch of 80. I think you have a bunch of guys in the 80s. DJ, I think it'll be like an 85. Toafili might be. I think Toafili would be around like an 88, 89, a high 80 guy. Everybody else just says mid 80s to me. Cam Riley. I wonder how that's going to work with Cam Riley. Will he be in the initial roster or because he was a late transfer? A corner with 99 doesn't get a ball caught literally on top. He had a bad game, man. Maybe he had a bad game. Personally, I don't think Hunter's future is at DB, but hey, man, he's got a whole season to prove it. Marvin Jones Jr. should be around 86 or 87. You think so? Is that just based off of his name? Because if we're just basing it off of college, I don't know how he could be ranked that high. Like, it wouldn't shock me if MJJ was an 80, 82, 80, like low 80s, not mid to high 80s. I just, based on what is he mid to high 80s? Or is that just because you think that's his attributes say he should be rated that high? I think they play us weak. Highest is Darius at 93, Pat and Farmer around 91. Okay. I can see all of that. I mean, that's basically what I was saying, right? Like, I think Darius would be the highest rated guy. AZ would be a solid 90. Yeah, okay. Speed on Jacob Lewis will probably be 99, 97. It'll be up there. It'll be up there for sure. They should have had JT on the cover. Well, based on how important JT was to keep us out of the playoff, I don't see how JT wasn't on. I don't see how JT didn't win the Heisman. I don't see how he didn't make the cover of Madden. I don't see how he didn't make the cover of this game. I mean, the way the media spun it, Jay-Z was the most important football player in the country and one of the most important football players of all time for a team that had 10 guys picked for the NFL. But that one guy kept us out of the playoff. So based on all of that, you're absolutely right. No, sir, not me. It's been bad Maddens, but it's never been a bad NCAA. You know why you would say it's never been a bad NCAA? Because of what makes NCAA. Madden is they took things that made the game experience for Madden and they stripped it away. to make a very generic game, in my opinion. If you go back and when Madden was at its peak, or just when even 2K was when they were doing football games, what made those games kind of stand out? It was the presentation. We all have memories, or we all grew up watching the Sports Center, watching the halftime shows. What was it, Chris Berman? And they would put him in the games, and they would put this halftime shows in the game. They would make the presentation of the game feel like you were watching a game on Sundays when Madden was actually in the game, right? It legitimately, that's what made Madden, in my opinion, great. They stripped all of that. There's none of that. I don't even think there's a ticker on the bottom in the Madden games. Again, I don't play it, haven't played it in a while. You guys can correct me. I don't believe there's a ticker in the Madden games during your franchise mode that shows you what the other scores are around the country are doing. What the other teams around the NFL are doing. I don't even think they do that anymore. They made it a bare bones experience. There's no presentation to it. You don't feel like you're actually in a Madden season. That's never been a problem with NCAA. The pageantry is what makes college football, point blank, period. That's why we love it, point blank, period, because of the pageantry. And they know that, and they've never taken that away from NCAA. NCAA, at least in 14, had the halftime show that showed you all the other. It would show you when the number one team in the country got upset during the game. It would just like in a real game. It would click over and it'd be like, we got a major, like they would do all of that. So the pageantry has always been the NCAA. It makes you feel like you're there on a Saturday. It makes you feel like you're there. Madden's a generic mess. It just doesn't make you feel like you playing, like you in the moment. It doesn't immerse you, is what I'm trying to say. That's why there's never been a bad NCAA. Historically, FSU has been overrated. Damn, overrated. So we should have a good team. JT deserves the Guinness World Record for most importance of it. I'm trying to tell you. Jordan Travis, most important player of all time. Zay says facts. Who will be the highest rated freshman for FSU? I'm going with Cam. I think Luke. I think Chromo Hulk could be the highest rated player. I think Chromo Hulk could be a 82, 83 or something like that. I think it'd be Luke Chromo Hulk. There you go. You summed it up better than everything I was saying. They took the experience out and just to create a football simulator, it's a terrible simulator. It's a terrible simulator, by the way. Absolutely. That was peak football gaming when 2K was competing with ESPN. So I think we're going to get a game that we're going to absolutely like, as long as it has that pageantry and all that. There's going to be some, if you're into Ultimate Team, shame on you, first of all. But if that's your thing, they got that there for you too. So I'm just excited for the game. Like I said, I've already pre-ordered it. If you haven't pre-ordered it, I ain't mad at you. I have no problems with people waiting to see what the game is before spending their money on it. These games are getting more expensive. They try to lure you in with the 3-day early access, which, by the way, 3-day early access, guys, that's going to be, quote unquote, your beta test. You're going to be testing out all the bugs for the 3-day, so that after the 3 days, there's going to be a day one patch like there is for every game. But I ain't mad at you. Again, if you pre-ordered it, I ain't mad at you because I did. But as far as all the other stuff, none of it. I'll be interested to see, because 2014 did this. They started introducing uniform packs as kind of DLC. And there were some cool uniforms that eventually came out in 2014. I remember they were doing a lot of different uniform packs by the end of 2014, which was cool. My assumption is they'll do something like that this year as well. Which, again, I would preferably want all the uniforms in the game from Jump Street, but I understand the business of it. I understand the business of it. Your business practices don't have to be shitty. So I understand the business of it. I just hope a uniform pack isn't like $10. Like for uniforms, it shouldn't be anything over like $5. Yeah, I've already pre-ordered myself. But again, the base version. I pre-ordered the base version. First of all, you will say his name. It's not just the horse. Okay, you will say Renegade. You want to see Renegade throw the spear in the game. It's going to happen. I think people made a big deal. Let's talk about that trailer. I heard a lot of people crying about FSU wasn't featured enough. And I was like, man, it's a game, whatever, who cares? But I will admit, when you're doing all the all the entrances, how we don't see Renegade throw the spear in the trailer was kind of beyond me. Like, that should have been a given. FSU's got some of the best traditions in college football. I can be okay with not having more of our players featured. I'm okay with that. I'm even okay with not necessarily hearing the war chant in the trailer. I'm cool with that. How we don't get Renegade at least? Like, in my opinion, the trailer should have closed out with bam. Like, that would have been a perfect way to end that trailer. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't have Renegade in that trailer. I guess to be fair, you didn't see you didn't see them run what's that buff? What did they call it? I forget what the name of the buffalo, but or the bison. I think it's actually a bison if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you didn't get to see him running on the field either, and they have a cover athlete. So to be fair, I get it, man. I get it. I think they'll be in the game, though. They were in 14. So I think they'll be in the game. I don't know. They were in 14. That would be a grave mistake to not have them in the game. I think Renegade will be in the game. And again, to be fair to college football or to EA, you can't do everybody's intro in that one trailer, right? You didn't see Miami coming out of the smoke. You did see Florida. You saw Texas, Notre Dame. But we didn't see everything, to be fair. So NCAA 25 will be the most fans Miami has. Ooh. Dang. He went there, Zay. Dang. I gotta do it. I'm sorry. Even Mario, look at his face. Even Mario knows, like, dang, he's right. It's the most guys we're gonna have. That's the most guys we're going to have in the stands. Dang. People complain about a mascot mashup. Did you really play that much? Me personally, I think that should be in the game. Now, I will admit, it's not a game mode that I would play by myself. But if I have my son with me, at the time, 10 years ago, I didn't have a son. But if I have my son with me now, who he's 5 years old and he's starting to play games and stuff, the best way I can introduce him to a football game would be, hey, do you want to play as a tree? Do you want to play as an alligator? Do you want to play as a bird? A horse? I think that would be the best way. A bulldog? So is it something that is that a make or break for me? Oh, let me get Mario's ugly face off of here. Is that a make or break for me? No. Would I like to see it in the game? Yes. Some of y'all don't like the mashup. Ralphie's the name. Yeah. I like it. Again, it's not a game mode that I played all the time, but it was a game mode that as a kid, we would play together. When you had friends over, we would play the mascot mode. As an adult, I can see adults being like, I don't care about it. As a kid, we used to play it. Only when we were all over each other's house. Cousins come over, whatever the case. And you don't know much about because the one thing about college football, there's a gazillion teams to pick from. And as a kid, I'm playing with Florida State. Well, where I grew up, everybody wants to play with Florida State. Or everybody wants to play with Florida or Miami. Well, everybody can't pick those teams, right? So what you do is you just go to the mascot mode. Everybody's 99 overall in the mascot mode. And just play with mascots. That's kind of how we did it growing up. They did do BC's mode, which I again, Madden did all defensive adjustments. In the early Madden, you couldn't do that, like drop a DN in the coverage, nickelback. Overrated Travis Hunter. They should make the realism slider from Miami attendance. Like a weather option, regular attendance, pre-sellout, actual sellout, a.k.a. FSU game. To be fair, games be packed. I've been to a few. Things is hot down here, so people watch in the AC at the concession stands. I love Zay, because Zay's going to stand in the paint, and he's going to say the most ridiculous things, but he's going to believe it with all of his heart. What's the first team y'all building? For me, it's FAM. Is FAM in the game? Is HBCUs in the game? At one point, FAM used to be in the game. So one of the things they did in the later NCAA games that I wasn't a fan of. So in the early NCAA games, they had all of the FCS schools in the game as well. In the later games, they took those teams out and just replaced them with generic FCS West, FCS East. Is FAM or the HBCUs or the FCS schools? Is North Dakota State? Are those schools going to be in the game? That's actually a great. Is Ardavius? Can you confirm that FCS and HBCUs and maybe not D1 and D2, well D1 obviously, maybe not D2, D3, but are the FCS schools and the HBCU schools actually going to be in the game? I am curious about that. Translation, Zane is going to lie. Yeah, no, Zane's going to lie for sure. He's going to lie. Zane is going to lie. But at least he's consistent with it. NCAA 05, I remember you can pump the crowd up. I think the home field advantage, I believe, is coming back. No FCS, so I'm hoping Team Builder comes. Just, if there's no FCS, then absolutely. People will implement the Team Builder for sure. FCS ain't in there yet. They might be later. Don't quote me on that. That's DLC I can get behind, right? You know how I talked about like the uniform packs and how like I'm cool with uniform packs, but they can't be $10 uniform packs for two different uniforms. Like that's ridiculous, right? FCS HBCU pack, a FCS pack is DLC. That's going to add X amount of new teams, I can get behind that all day. Those are DLCs I'll support. I think an HBCU pack would be a great idea, EA. By any chance you're listening, I'm pretty sure you're not, but by any chance, somebody out there, an HBCU pack would be a dope concept as a DLC. To get all the HBCU teams, you get your Howards, your Gramblings, your FAMs, your Bethunes, you get all of those with the real stadiums. You talk about pumping money, maybe. I'm assuming they'll get paid for their participation. So giving them something like, I think that'd be a dope concept. You want to bring awareness to the HBCUs and all of that. I think that's a great thought, great concept for a DLC. Will they do it? But again, if you're listening, I think that's a good idea. Or Dave says they come up with the FCS. Yeah, and you can do both. You can do the FCS. You can separate them. You can make them one whole. I would separate them. I would do FCS, and I'd have the HBCUs be their own thing. I wonder will they still allow you to upload your own wave files? I had several Marching Chief files playing. I even use HBCU songs. I don't know if they'll do that in this one. That'd be interesting. I'm assuming the halftime show, and again, we're gonna assume based off of 2014. I'm assuming halftime show will be where they go over the important big games around the country. And speaking of dynasty mode, now if you're playing an exhibition, maybe you can get a. I don't think that's going to be in the game. Just to keep it blunt with you, I don't think they'll be like ban halftime shows. I don't think they'll do that. Is that something in the HBCU DLC they could implement? Yeah, but I doubt it. And I would just be happy with adding the teams to the game. If they come up with a high school recruit pack with the actual top 10 recruits, that would be fire. Ooh, you're opening up a can of worms there, Antoine. As fans, would we love that? To actually have the actual top high school players? But them boy, now we playing high school kids because there's no way them high school kids are going to agree to be in that game without getting compensation. Now you're open. This is what we're doing. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, my man. Like, I hear you. As a fan, I'm down for it. I would love that. Let me tell you one of my dreams here. Because honestly, Madden, 2K, this game, you don't need to have a new game every year. You could release it. They could take the 25 off of it. Call it NCAA football. And just every year, you update the game. Right? So I would love to see that. I would love to see them bring out the top high school players in America pack for high school recruiting. It's just not. It's not gonna happen though. That's opening up a whole. That's Pandora's box. Can't you wait to use my second favorite team? LSU is your second. First of all, I don't believe college football fans should have a second favorite team. That's just my opinion. This isn't like the pros. So in the NBA, I'm a Knicks fan. And due to location, and being that my favorite player at one point was Tracy McGrady, have found myself being an Orlando Magic fan at times. I feel like in the pros, that's a little bit more acceptable. I don't feel like in the college ranks, you should be having second favorite teams. It's Florida State or nothing for me. Also, Reese Davis and Kurt will only be on big-time matchups in Dynasty. The other broadcast booths will call lesser games. That's cool. I like the fact that – I like that. Again, that's what NCAA does well, in my opinion. Makes it feel real. I don't need Kurt Herbstreit calling freaking SMU versus Cal. Maybe we get EJ calling some ACC games. I think that'd be dope. Like, I think that's cool. I think that's in the game. That's cool. Yeah. No matter what, Zay. CJ, get on there. So CJ brought it up. We're gonna do a few things on the channel for this game. One, you guys know I used to stream the game. I'm bringing that back. I will do my streaming of the game on the channel. We're going to do a little differently. I'm not picking Florida State to start up. So the goal of the stream on the channel is going to be starting up, and we'll see what team I pick. I might pick like James Madison or Liberty, or I don't know. I'm gonna pick. I don't know if they're still gonna have the prestige stars. Let's assume they do. I'm gonna pick a one prestige team, and the goal is going to be to get Mike Norvell fired and me take over the Seminoles. So that's how I'm gonna approach it on the channel. I also want to do a dynasty league. That's what I'm telling y'all, to get y'all PS5s. I want to do a dynasty league for the subscribers. If you're interested, CJ, everybody, I want to do a dynasty. I want us to do an online dynasty. And we're going to do that as 863 Seminole TV. I want to get all y'all on there. However many people want to do it. And let's see who's the king of the ring on dynasty mode. And the dynasty mode is going to have a very similar rule. You're not just going to be able to pick Florida State off the bat or pick Miami off the bat or whatever school you want. But I'll get into the weeds there, and I'll figure out how I want to run dynasty mode. I want to do that. And I'm probably going to have my own personal, obviously, dynasty mode that I won't show on camera. But those are the two things for the channel. I want to do one with the subs, and then I'm going to have one that I live stream for y'all on a routine basis. Because I actually had a lot of people who missed that series where I did college football revamped. There's a lot of people that actually missed that. Even though the numbers don't reflect that a lot of people watched it, I get people telling me all the time, you should do it again. So, man, I grew up in Florida and love FSU, but my dad was from Nebraska, and he taught me to be a Nebraska fan. I hear you, Ben. I hear you. My second favorite NBA team is the Lakers. Like purple and gold, LSU. Oh, my God. You're a Heat and a Laker fan. Go figure. LeBron. You're really a LeBron fan. Just say you're a LeBron fan. I agree with that. I don't know if you guys remember that. If you had a mascot and you scored a touchdown, you could run over to the mascot after the touchdown and you could celebrate with him. I remember that. If I'm not mistaken, also, when you scored a touchdown, you could hit a button. And if you were like a Miami, you were playing with Miami, you would do the U. If you were FSU, obviously, the chop. I think that was also a feature. So, like, if they bring these features back in this game, then they've done everything I've needed them to do for me. 32 online users. I doubt we have 32 people that want to play. But we'll fill it up as much as we want to fill up. Again, if you're interested, man, let me know. Some of y'all follow me on social media. Hit my inbox up. My email is in the description of most of my videos, if not all of my videos. Feel free to email me. I check my emails daily. If you are interested in this, man, if you want to be in dynasty mode, just let me know. See, unfortunately for Antoine, he's a terrorist, man. He plays Xbox. Granted, I have the Series S. I don't use it for gaming. Could I use it for gaming? Just I could, but that means I have to buy the game twice, which I'm probably definitely not going to do. Pick Middle Tennessee State. I don't have a number one team in the NFL, though it looks like I'm a Rams fan this year. So from what I hear, Dynasty Mode will not be cross-platform. From what I hear. If it's cross-play on Dynasty Mode, but from what I'm hearing, is Ultimate Team will definitely be cross-play because that's where they're going to try to make all their money. But I don't believe Dynasty Mode is going to be cross-platform. I hope I'm wrong. I hope by the time this game is released, they realize that is a negative and fix it. Bro, just let me know what your PSN is. I'll add you for sure. Okay, my bad, Zay. I thought you was a Braun fan. Plus, his shoes are better. So yeah, that's the stuff I want to do with the channel. That's the stuff I want to do. Exciting times, man. I think college football has missed this game. And if you play video games, this is. If you don't, I ain't mad at you. Everybody don't play games, but for those of us that do, and for those of us that grew up with this game, and I know a lot of grown men who absolutely. I know a lot of grown men who are in multiple Madden leagues. So you can't tell me that y'all ain't playing video games. I know a lot of y'all love Madden still. I don't understand it, but a lot of y'all do. I think this game is going to bring a lot of people back into the fold. It's crazy they can make Call of Duty games cross-platform, but not the sports games. Like I said, I'm almost 100% certain Ultimate Team will be cross-platform, because that's the moneymaker. There's no real money in Dynasty mode, so why make it cross-platform? At the end of the day, guys, I know it sucks, but these people care about. These people care about the bottom line. It is what it is. That's what these people care about, bottom line, and a lot of times that's to the detriment of us gamers. I'll be still here in Korea, unfortunately, so there's no real calling off, but don't worry, I'll make time for this game. I used to play Warzone a lot. I don't play it that much no more. Yeah. So, I mean, that's it's here, guys. Like, the game is is around the corner. I don't know, man. I don't know if I've been excited for a game this excited for a game, and I don't know. When's the last game that I was like, I gotta buy? Probably was like Grand Theft Auto 4. Grand Theft Auto 4 was probably the last game where I'm like, yeah, I got to have that game. But obviously this game is changing that. But I think, we've talked a lot about the game. We don't have to continue talking about the game. I'm going to open this up for y'all to just bring out what y'all want to talk about. Obviously, we can go back to talking some football. I know that's why majority of y'all are usually here. I just wanted to give the game. I had to talk about the game. So we can switch it up. We're only at an hour 30, really an hour 15, because 15 minutes of that hour and 30 was me waiting on people to get in here. So we can switch up the conversation and we can just talk some ball if y'all want to. So I'm all for that. Ben says, off topic, but what do you think about the Gators use the portal this offseason? Well, I saw they just added Cromani. Speaking of the Gators, man, they added Cromani McClain. And they got a wide receiver from Arizona State. Give me a second. As far as the additions go, look, Cromani McClain is in my opinion, I think, and if I'm not mistaken, he's walking on, which is crazy. So that's a low risk, high reward. If he lives up to what he was coming out of high school, then the Gators hit on one. If he doesn't, he walked on, and he'll be transferring again next offseason. It's unfortunate for Cromani. A lot of people called this out. I was one of them. I hate to say I told you so or brag about this, but a lot of people called this out when he committed to Colorado. And then you saw the way the season was unfolding there, and you said he's transferring. He's transferring. So ultimately, I blame him. I think he would probably blame himself as well. He chose the wrong school to go to initially, and he kind of burnt some bridges in the process of doing that. But it is what it is. He's in Florida now, and I think that's good for him. That's good for the Gators. Again, low risk, high reward. If it pays out, good. If it doesn't, There's no skin off of Florida's back. They'll move on. As far as the receiver that they got from Arizona State, I'll be honest with you, don't know much about him. Didn't watch a lot of Arizona State last year. I heard he was the top receiver in the portal as far as the I guess we're still in the spring window. So that's good for the Gators. Again, good for the Gators. I think that Miami game is 50-50. And because Gators are at home, I kind of lean towards the Gators in that Miami game. And like I said, I think the Gators need that Miami game because if they lose that game, the schedule obviously does not do them any favors. Florida will struggle to win 5 or 6 games. But if you win that Miami game, you get some confidence, you get a little bravado about yourself. The Gators could make a bowl game. I think a lot is on the table for the Gators in that game. I played all types of games back in the day. Don't have time to invest to get good anymore, and just makes them less enjoyable. But watching others play gives a vicarious thrill that seems goofy at first. But ain't that what we all do watching sports anyway? Agreed. I agree. There are games, just to speak on that broadly, there are games that I've watched, or there's games that I've wanted to play. For instance, the Dark Souls games. I can't get good enough. I can't play 15 hours straight or whatever it takes to get good enough at a Dark Souls game. So I just get frustrated trying to play it. But I can watch a person play it all day. Like, if that makes sense. So GTA 6 confirmed. Yep, I saw that. POLK Game 7 tomorrow. I like us to take care of business too. My only problem with us is, man, we're so injured. The Knicks are so injured. If the Knicks were healthy, I'd pick us to go to the finals. Brunson is really good, but Brunson's struggling with injuries. Hart is questionable now. OG's questionable. We so injured, man. At the end of the day, we had a good season regardless. If we had, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I wish we had Julius Randle this playoffs because I know people think we're better without him, but I disagree. With the amount of injuries we had and just having a second scoring option, it just would have been a lot better for us. The ASU wide receiver got injury issues from what I heard. Camardi has just used Louis. Is Deion the head coach of Colorado in 2025? I said no when he took the job. I'm going to stand on that. I know he's saying differently. We'll see what happens when his son and Travis Hunter get drafted, if he still doesn't magically get sick or whatever. We'll see. Man, I'm telling you, the Timberwolves have been looking pretty good. Don't sleep on – I'm not the biggest Luka fan, man, but don't sleep on Luka in Dallas. Colorado record prediction. I actually think they'll make a bowl game this year, believe it or not. They should anyway. I don't think the schedule is nearly as tough as it was last year. The Gator-Miami game going to come down to QB. We have the better QB. Florida's best QB is the freshman Lagway. He ain't ready. Well, okay. You might be right. But let me ask you a question. That's going to be Cam Ward's first game as a Miami quarterback. It's not going to be Mertz's first game as the Florida quarterback. I would argue, I'm not saying Mertz is a better quarterback than Cam Ward. I don't think he is. I would argue Mertz knows his system better than Cam Ward knows his system. Mertz knows what to – Mertz is more entrenched in that Florida system than Cam Ward's going to be in game one. Wouldn't shock me if Mertz played better than Cam Ward in game one, to be quite honest with you. It has nothing to do with who's the better quarterback, who has the better system, who's more experienced in said system. I think Mertz has the advantage, believe it or not. Nah, Polk. Nick's going home tomorrow. Y'all's coach ran. I ain't going to lie. We did run these boys. And Tibbs runs teams into the ground. I ain't going to lie to you, man. That's what I've been saying. We've been getting ran into the ground. But I think we're going to take care of Game 7. I just don't think we'll have enough to make that Boston series competitive. Or I don't think the Boston series, if we win tomorrow, I don't think the Boston series goes past a Game 6, Game 5 maybe. I hate to say it, but I'm just being honest with you. Florida 38, Miami 35. Remember the stream. All right. Remember the stream, and remember I called it. So basically no defense will be played. Okay. Regardless of what you think of UF, the Swamp is a hard place to play. Cam Ward hasn't seen an environment. I agree. And again, Mertz is more experienced quarterback in his system. Mertz has more experience with the guys that he's playing with. Cam Ward does not. What do you think about the NBA to NFL? Saying, interesting conversation. I'm glad actually somebody brought that up. I had forgotten all about that. I think what Austin Rivers said, and y'all might kill me for this, is accurate. I think he exaggerated on the amount. I think what he said, there's 30 NBA players that can play in the NFL. I think that's false. There's not 30. I've always made this point. I think NBA players are more athletic. It's not about the difference between an NBA player and an NFL player isn't about the athletics of it. I wholeheartedly believe Russell Westbrook could have played in the NFL if he wanted to. He has the athleticism. People, I know he's a basketball player, so we forget how big basketball players, because they're 7-footers on the court at all times. Russell Westbrook's 6'4". That would make him one of the biggest receivers in the NFL. He could play in the league. It's about the mentality. The difference is the basketball players don't have the mentality. Charles Barkley said it himself. Charles Barkley said, the first time I got hit, I knew football wasn't for me. That's the difference. The difference is the mentality of these guys to play. Football players have a different mentality. It's the same thing as a boxer, same thing as a fighter. Everybody thinks they can do it until they get punched and they say, whoa, this ain't for me. It's the same thing. But if you look at it, I'll use Charles Barkley as an example. Charles Barkley was 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds, and could move. On a good day, he was 270, meaning when he was actually taking care of his body. The man played most of his career probably 280, 290. Could jump out of the gym and could run up and down the court with that body. Freakishly long arms at 6'4", 6'5". You trying to tell me Barkley couldn't have been an interior D lineman, an offensive tackle? He could have played football if he wanted to. He just didn't. To his own admission, the man just didn't want to get hit. LeBron is 6'8", 6'9", 250. You don't think the man could have played football? Basketball players are better athletes. So I believe Austin Rivers is correct. There are basketball players are better athletes. There are more basketball players that could go play on an NFL team. Granted, the mindset. I would dare you to name me one football player right now that could step court on an NBA roster and actually start. Because we've seen Antonio Gates. We've seen Jimmy Graham. We've seen guys who are mediocre basketball players, Keon Coleman, dominate on the football field. You've never seen a basketball player, a football player, Charlie Ward. I love Charlie Ward. Obviously, I love Charlie Ward, and he played for my Knicks. But he was a solid basketball player at best. Wasn't an all-star. I believe he did start, right? And he played point guard at that. How many football players would make that transition? That would be my question. So I agree. I just don't agree on the amount. I think he's being very extreme with 30. There aren't 30 basketball players who could probably step foot on an NBA or an NFL field. But I believe there's probably a good handful of guys, man. 2 handfuls of guys. There might be 10. That if they had the mentality, and if you took them, if you gave them a year or two, maybe could get on the NFL field. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like there are 5 NBA players who could survive in training camp. Okay, I'll take it an even step further. There probably isn't any NBA players right now who could go straight from the court to the football field. I guess what I'm trying to say is if Russell Westbrook had decided to play football in high school instead of basketball. So if we take it all the way back down to high school and then propel them from there, I think there's more basketball players that could have played football. Even if, I don't know, name a football player. If Tyreek Hill decided in middle school he wanted to be a basketball player, he still wouldn't be in the NBA right now. Or Metcalf or Derrick Henry, like, I don't know, name a football player. Even if they decided to be a basketball player in high school, they still wouldn't be a basketball player. Is that I guess, is that what I'm saying? Is that making sense to you guys? That if Russell Westbrook in high school wanted to be a football player, he would be. If LeBron James in high school wanted to be a football player, he would be. Right? That makes sense. Whereas I don't believe you can say the same for football players. Same thing with Zion. If Zion wanted to be a football player, bro, he absolutely would be. None of them from either sport could play 90 minutes of soccer. They're all crazy talent and different things. All still athletes. Put Zion at backer. NBA players are different athletically. They're avatars. A 5'9" running back can play in the NFL. And that's the crux of my argument. Basketball players are legit mutants. They're legit freaks. Again, I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen real-life basketball players. Not your high school basketball players. Not some Division II, like a legit D1 college basketball player or greater. They don't look, their body proportions are abnormally large. Knees hang past knees, arms hang past it. They're just abnormally, shoulders are wider than they're just abnormally. I've seen plenty of my share of football players, professional football players. Yes, they're big guys. They don't look freakish like these basketball players. Like he's saying, a 5'9" Jalen Lucas can play football. Jalen Lucas might make it to the NFL if he's Devontae Smith is in the NFL. Bryce Young is in the NFL. Small guys can play in the NFL. None of those guys would ever step foot on a basketball court. No, Draymond, again, didn't have the mentality. You can go watch Draymond. Yeah, go watch Draymond, Michigan State, try to play football. Didn't have the mentality for it. You can tell by the way he played. Maybe Myles Garrett. And Myles Garrett is, what is he? 6'5"? That's the size of a two guard. Myles Garrett is listed at what, 6'5", and he's probably 250, 260, something like that. So he's an overweight two guard. He'll probably play the small forward because of his weight. Like, bro, it's not. Muggsy Bogues disagrees. Okay, for every Muggsy Bogues, that's fine. Muggsy Bogues has a different skill set. So we can find exceptions to every rule. But if we're speaking in general, because we all know how this plays out, right? There's exceptions to every rule. So we can point out Muggsy Bogues. How many Muggsy Bogues have been in the NBA? So we can always point out exceptions, but the general rule still speaks on the fact that basketball players are very large individuals. Speaking of lengthwise, people forget, I always like to bring this up, people forget Shaq was 7'1", 300 pounds, and go watch him run and jump up and down a basketball court. Go watch that. Shaq's a freak of a human being. If you look at Ant, you look at his body type, and you look at his dimensions, had he focused on football, y'all don't think he'd be in the NFL? Again, I would argue yes. This comment right here can prove my point. Allen Iverson could also prove my point. Allen Iverson could have stepped foot on. I think Allen Iverson was all state in Virginia when he played football. If you can play both, why would you? Here's the bigger question. If you could play both at a high level, why would you ever choose football over basketball? Guaranteed money, better contracts, better everything in terms of basketball. And I'm not getting hit and beat up on. If I could play both, why would I ever choose football? So for everybody that says football players can do what basketball players do, if you can play both at a high level, why would you ever choose football over basketball from a lifestyle perspective? Yeah, because they're freaks. The size of their hands, like this is just the things we speak on as basketball players. I think basketball players are some of, if not the best athletes in the world. And that's all about genetics. They're genetically different. Their hands are bigger than most humans' hands. Wingspans, shoulder length, obviously their torso, like everything's just mutated on these guys. What do I think about the Kendrick and Drake beef? I've had fun seeing the back and forth. I don't get too much into what's real and what's not. Man, these dudes are making music and they're taking shots back and forth. I've had fun with that. As far as what's actually being said, bro, I'm not getting into the weeds of that. People can't just enjoy stuff for what it is. They got to try to dissect what's being said. When Tupac said, first off, fuck your bitch. What did he say? Fuck your bitch and the shit you claim, or whatever Tupac said. Nobody was digging into all the stuff Tupac said in that beef. They just was like, damn, he said some real hard shit, and I liked it. As far as Puffy, I don't know why Puffy's still walking around free man, quite frankly. It's trees in the NBA. You can get around trees as a little man with the football in your hand. In the NBA, you got to get the ball in the basket. Off topic from basketball. But FSU's recruiting for the 25 class got a weird smell to it. Some of our staff need to get out of the kitchen. So I haven't followed recruiting, and my plan was to not follow recruiting until around the time that FSU starts to cook on the recruiting trail. So listen, Mike Norvell and company have done the same thing year in and year out. That July-August window is when FSU, Mike Norvell, is going to really seal the majority of your class. And we'll see what they are cooking with up until then. As far as what they're doing so far, I'm not even paying attention to most of it. I'm not paying attention to who commits and who doesn't commit. Because these kids do this. These kids, excuse me, I broke my own rule. These athletes, these young athletes, do the same thing to y'all every offseason. They commit in January or whenever they commit. You pound your chest for them all season, and come early signing period, they break your heart, and we cry about the staff and who does what. Look, I've said my piece on the staff. There are upgrades that need to be made on the staff. I don't backtrack on that one bit, but I'm not going to use January to May or January to June to decipher any of that. We'll talk June, July, and then through the season about recruiting. As of right now, and the way recruiting has completely transformed, I don't take anything that's happened thus far with any solid, firm grasp on it. Like, it's all whatever. I don't care about it as of right now. Maybe you like head trauma. Maybe. That's my point. And again, I'm not saying football players aren't great. I think NFL corners, some of the greatest athletes in the world. The NFL, in my opinion, corner is the hardest position to play outside of quarterback in football because everything is reactionary. The wide receiver knows exactly where he's going, what route he's running, where he needs to get to. The corner, especially if he's a man-to-man guy, if he's Darrelle Revis, if he's Crow, if he's Xavier Rhodes, you reacting on a dime. So NFL players have amazing. I think offensive tackles are amazing athletes, most of them anyway. NFL has its share of incredible athletes, but we're talking about the totality of it all. Like you just said, Steph Curry is considered a small guard. He'd be one of the biggest receivers in the league. like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Not only is a Pro Bowl player, but the man was putting up Hall of Fame numbers at one point. I'm not saying Jimmy Graham would be in the Hall of Fame, but he was putting up those type of numbers. Same thing with Antonio Gates. You know, he is a Hall of Famer. Said, no, you're right to call them kids that time. Committing and then treating a commitment like a promise to love their first girlfriend over. I mean, I don't disagree. But then again, that's why I'm taking the stance I'm taking on recruiting. I don't disagree with you. I don't know why we put so much stock in the commitments. Not right now. Now, you check Mike Norvell and you check the track record. The guys they get to commit in that summer window, right before the fall camp starts, that end of July, early August window, go check his track record. Those guys usually stick. Yes, you'll have a guy or two that'll, decommit. Majority of those guys, go check last year's recruiting window, man. That Charles Lessler, that's Jonathan Daniels. Those guys stuck it out. I'll pay attention to those guys because Mike Norvell has a track record of getting the core of his class committed at that time. Where the staff has struggled is adding the guys late, closing in on Jeremiah Smith, which I don't hold that against the staff. I never believed Smith was coming here. So personally, I don't hold that against the staff. But the Keldrick Falks, the Smiths, maybe like closing on some of those big names down the stretch, I think is where the staff has struggled. But the core of the class will be, in my humble opinion, will be solidified July, August. And then they'll try to go get some guys. And they've had some success. Hakeem Williams, I think, committed during the season and stuck it out. I think they closed on Kai Bates last year, I believe, strong. I think Jamari Howard was another one they got. So they've had success in different areas. But ultimately, I think we worry too much, man, about recruiting in May and April. Yes, so I already said I'm going to stream on the channel. But I'm not starting off at Florida State. So the job is to get Mike Norvell fired. I might pick Army or Navy. I'm going to pick the worst football team I can find in the game. We're going to try to build them up. And I'm going to try to then take a new job. Ultimately, the goal will be to get the Florida State job. That's going to take getting Mike Norvell fired. I'm sorry, guys. But I am going to adamantly push for Norvell to be fired. Somebody will clip that and make that seem like I'm talking about in real life or I'm simply talking about on the game. But I'll say it again just so somebody can clip it. I'm going to adamantly push for Norvell to be fired. Excuse me. Don't forget to hit the like button. Who ended up winning the Oklahoma City game? Is that game over? I didn't see who won. Did Dallas win? I think Dallas was going to close it out if they won, right? Did Dallas end up winning that one? What happened? Do we know? Let me check. Let me check on ESPN. Let's see. Oh, Mavericks rally past. Ooh, so the Thunder got eliminated. Dallas versus either Minnesota. Dallas versus Minnesota would be a very, very fun season, a series to watch. Not going to lie to you. Ant versus Luka versus Kyrie and Cat. All those guys in that same series, I think, would be extremely fun to watch. I think I'm rooting for Minnesota, but I think the Nuggets are going to pull it out. I think the Yoke is gonna have a big game 7 there. But I'm rooting to see Minnesota in that. Could you imagine if Minnesota made it to the finals? Would that make Ant a better Timberwolf than like KG? Yeah, because I already know how this will come off, so that's why I did that. Fury and Usyk fought today too, or tonight for y'all. Fury got his ass beat. I didn't see that coming. I thought Fury would be too big. Now I know Fury lost a lot of weight for this fight, so Fury worried about Usyk's movement, which is why he packed on shed all that weight. When it came to, we'll just use Wilder as an example. Fury wasn't worried about Wilder's movement. So he gained all that weight to take a punch. Fury lost all that weight, and Usyk almost knocked him out. And frankly, if you go watch that round, I think it was the 9th round, they should have stopped the fight. Fury should have been knocked out. I counted about 12 to 13 punches that landed for Usyk unanswered while Fury's doing all of this around the ring, looking like he's about to die, looking like a deer, a newborn giraffe is what he's looking like around the ring. And the ref didn't stop. That had been any other fighter, the ref would have stopped the fight. That fight should have been stopped in that round. And Usyk should have got credited with a knockout. Shout out to Usyk. Usyk might very well be the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. And I usually don't put that on heavyweights. But the man dominated the cruiserweights, and he's dominating the heavyweights like I didn't think he would. I'll be honest with you, did not think Usyk would be this good at heavyweight. To beat Fury in that style, I think he only won on split decision. But to beat Fury in that way, in my opinion, might be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but they're going to say if Ant beats Yoke, they're going to say Jokic is a 3-time MVP and a champion. Shaq and Kobe together don't have as many MVPs as Nikola Jokic. I'm just telling you what they're going to say. I agree with you. I think Shaq and Kobe's Lakers, and then you also got to count Tim Duncan's Spurs in that mix, is a tougher feat for KG to climb than maybe Nikola Jokic's Nuggets. So I don't disagree with you, but I know what the media will say. And the media say Ant beat a 3-time MVP and champion. I'm taking Georgia State all the way to the top. I hear that. What do you think about the Pistons getting screwed? Worst record in NBA, and they tanked. Happens all the time in the NBA. That's why tanking doesn't necessarily help you. So I don't feel anything about it. I don't think the Pistons got screwed. The Knicks have had that problem. Other teams have had that problem. Tanking does not guarantee you the number 1 pick in the NBA because they have a lottery. It just is what it is. Oh well, Detroit. That's on you. Still got a top 5 pick. See what you can do with it. I don't know if he was the number 1 prospect in Ohio or not. I just know that you can't convince me had LeBron had the mentality for it that he couldn't have played football. He absolutely could have. Do I think Bronny is an NBA player? I think Bronny can be one. I think they're trying to rush this kid too soon just so he could possibly play with his dad. Right now, I don't believe he is. It's okay if the guy, if Bronny has to play 3 or 4 years of college basketball, that's okay. He'll be fine. I think Obi Toppin played all 4 years of college. He's a rotation player in the NBA. Like I think we have to come to terms that like people want LeBron, and I'm gonna take it here, but people want LeBron to be better than Michael Jordan so bad. And one of the things they always bring up about Mike is, oh, well, his kids weren't any good. And so they've been hyping up all of his kids to be great on the basketball court. The likelihood that his kids are going to live up to his name is slim to none. But everybody wants to say LeBron is going to, oh, well, Mike couldn't do this, and LeBron and Mike didn't care about the community, but look at LeBron and Michael Jordan's marriages, and look at LeBron. Like that's what we do. I hate it. And they're doing the same thing with his kids. I think that's what it's all about. I think they're rushing Bronny to be an NBA player, to play with his dad, and to say that LeBron's kids even are pretty good at basketball. Now, Bronny had that didn't he have like a heart attack or something? So maybe that altered the course of his career, maybe. And it was scary that happened to him at such a young age. But the Bronny that we've seen at USC now, no, bro. They're pushing him to be a basketball. They're pushing him. I don't think he's ready to be in the league. Let him stay in college. Hold on. The NFL should do a lottery. It would stop the tanking by teams late in the year. Here's the problem. Oh, here's the thing about the NFL. One player don't change your franchise. Tanking doesn't help you in the NFL. I don't care. Unless you get Peyton Manning, unless you get John Elway, unless you get Dan Marino, tanking does not help you in the NFL unless you hit on a quarterback. How many busts have we seen at quarterback? In the NBA, you get one player can change the entire franchise, i.e. Jalen Brunson in New York, or Ant in Minnesota, or Jokic in Denver, obviously LeBron. Guys like that completely change franchises. Jordan in Chicago. It doesn't, again, unless you hit on an all-time quarterback, it doesn't happen in the NFL. So you can tank all you want. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. Listen, it's all about the moms. It's all about the moms. I don't know if they're rushing Bronny as much as they're getting him into a preferable draft class. Next year's talent will be better than this year, and he'll look better in a shallower talent pool. It might be the case. I've heard that too. I've heard Bryce is actually the better ball player. So we'll see what happens with Bryce. But this conversation is going to circle back around when Bryce is here. But I've heard the same thing, that Bryce is a better prospect as well. Oh, man, but we did 2 hours. We talked about a little bit of all of it. And I think I am good if y'all are good. Do the Chiefs repeat? Great question. Who knows? NFL's crap. I honestly believe the NFL's a crapshoot year for the most part. Like the Bengals should be better. I believe Burrow was hurt last year. Chiefs repeating, it's tough in the NFL to do all of that. So I'm gonna say on the surface, no, I don't think the Chiefs repeat, but I mean Baltimore should be right there too. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, like I said, man, we did 2 hours. I'm good. I think we covered the video game in depth. Talked a little bit of ball, a little bit of boxing, a little bit. We touched on all stuff here tonight. As I continue to try to get back in the swing of things. I was getting in the swing, and then some stuff popped up, and I had to go away for a couple weeks, and now I'm back. So same time next week, I think. I actually got a haircut. Look, I'll show you. Since you worry about my hair. Bam. Haircut. I just need my brush. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom. See that? Got my little fade going. I'm in regs, my man. I'm in regs, so don't worry about it. I got a haircut. But I definitely need to get off this peninsula ASAP. I need to get back home. But all right, guys, I'm going to get on up out of here. It's your boy Polk over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. We are out here. Go Noles. And like I said, same time next week. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all have a good rest of y'all evening.